Welcome to Yoga with Carolyn. Today our main focus is the hips. It's going to be a little bit different than our runners. I've given us a few different poses, mostly different poses, so you can use them kind of interchangeably, but this one is strictly for the hips. There's no upper body like we did on the runners. With that, let's go ahead and sit up tall and just take a moment to notice the hips. Notice those knees. Are they close to the ground? Are they close to our ears? Am I comfortable? Can I sit up tall, keep my shoulders over my hips? If not, I'm going to grab a blanket, roll up my mat. I can do both. And then we're going to start to bring the soles of our feet together. Oh, we're going to just wiggle into it. Maybe just notice how those hips are. Maybe slow it down. Now, from here, we're going to lengthen and we're going to fold into it, getting right into those insides of those hips, right? We're going to keep our spine long. Oh. Now, I like to activate my inner thighs just a little bit. So by pushing the pinky toe side of our feet together, let our big toes come apart. Lengthen a little bit more, fold deeper. I feel like my heart goes forward and it allows my heels to come maybe in a little bit. Maybe that's just my imagination, but it creates a little different stretch for me. Go ahead and try it. Lengthen, fold. Just noticing those hips. If you're like me, you've been sitting down a whole lot more. We're gonna come back up. So those hips are something special, right? Let's come up onto our hands and our knees. And from here, we're just gonna step our right foot in between our hands. We're gonna drop into this right knee over the ankle. Sweep those arms up. Feel that stretch in the left. So I'm gonna activate this even more. I'm gonna push down through my left knee into the ground with my right heel. Reach up, lengthen, and find a deeper stretch. Now my hips are staying square. Try not to let that left hip open. And my hands can be to my leg. My hands can stay on the floor. Just breathe. One more. And then exhale, slowly release our hands. Let's step our right foot back. And let's bring that left foot forward. Again, we're going to start out with the knee over the ankle. We're going to drop into that right knee. Take those arms up. So we're pressing down. Feel like you're pushing down through that right knee. We're lengthening, lifting up as we push into the ground with our left heel as well. Hands can stay here. Hands can come back to the knee. Really opening the front of that right hip. Now as we hang out here, I want you to notice, is this side a little bit less tight, more tight than the left? Those hips want to square, we don't want to open. How are we doing? Now let's start to fold. We're going to take our left foot back, find our tabletop. We're going to bring that right foot forward, but we're going to step our right foot on the outside of our right hand. Now we're going to drop. So if my knee extends beyond my ankle, I'm going to walk my toes forward, hang out here. Now we can hang out here, because this is an awesome place to be, or we can start to lower down. Now in this position, I'm going to keep my spine lengthening. I'm going to draw my core up, protect my back for lizard. Now this is all about the hips. I'm going to come back up just to show you. I'm going to rotate my right toes, walk them out a little bit so that I'm going to start to hit my right inner thigh along with that left hip flexor. Dropping back down. Breathe. It's so important to breathe when we're doing our stretches in our hips, just to make sure that we keep everything from tensing up on us. How about one more breath here? And let's slowly come back up. We're going to step our right foot back, and let's step our left foot on the outside of our left hand. Now we're going to start to drop into it again. And walk those left toes forward. I'm going to make sure our knee stays either slightly behind or right over. We're gonna activate our core, protect our back, maybe coming down onto those forearms. Again, we can always stay on our hands. If we have blocks, we can also put a block underneath our elbows. Just breathing, notice how it feels. Now I'm going to start to rotate my left toes, walk my left foot out slightly. Now I'm going to add that inner thigh right here. Stretch. Feeling good? Let's take one more breath. And slowly, let's start to come out of it. Ooh. I'm going to rock those hips side to side, just kind of releasing. Now we're going to come to seated. Let's go ahead and take our left shin on the bottom. We're going to stack our right shin on top. We're going to flex both of our feet here. We're going to lengthen, hinge from those hips, and find that forward fold. Now I like to walk my hands out. If I had a block, I could place my forehead on the block. Now we're getting the outside of those hips into those glutes. They pull on our backs. They pull on just about everything. Breathing right here. And let's slowly come back up. We're going to switch. We're going to stack that right on top of our left. Flex both of our feet and then folding. Keep that spine lengthening right here. Again, if we have a block, we can rest our forehead on the block. Check in with that breath. Are we still breathing? If we hold our breath, then our muscles start to tense. And we do not want that when we're stretching, right? Give me 2 more big breaths. And then slowly come back up. Now, I'm on a carpeted floor, so I don't necessarily need the extra, but if you would like to, you can fold your mat into thirds. Now, I'm going to show you from a side view what this is going to look at. You can keep looking straight ahead. And we're going to come into a tabletop position. Actually, I might throw out my blanket handy. This will work really well. Then you can kind of maybe see the low. Now, from my tabletop position, I'm just going to slide my knees out. My feet are going to go with my knees. We're going to tuck under our tailbone and keep that hip right over that knee in that same line. Now, I don't go down very far. Maybe you do, by all means. Now we can turn our toes out. We can also release our toes, bring our heels in. This will release some of the intensity, so it's our choice. Do we want more? Do we want less? We can also come down to those forearms. Again, I'm keeping my hips over my knees. I'm letting those knees slide out. Now think about that tailbone. Take it towards the heel just a little bit. Breathe. This is when I have to breathe really deeply in. Notice, can those knees maybe go a little bit wider now? One more breath. And then let's bring the heels together. Lock those knees in together. Big inner thigh stretch, right? We started out with that bound eagle pose at the very beginning. That's those same muscles right there, just with gravity's help in a different way, right? Now let's go ahead and come onto our backs. We're gonna lay all the way down. We're just gonna leave our knees bent. We're gonna cross that left ankle on the right knee. We're gonna flex that left foot, draw that left knee, or the right knee towards the chest. Thread the left hand between and reach, interlacing our hands. Now, if I change this right leg, the stretch in that left hip will change as well.
Now I'm careful that I don't tuck my tailbone too much. I want my lower back to stay pressed on the mat. I don't want me rounding. How about 2 more breaths here? And then on that second exhale, we'll slowly release that right foot. Again, plant both feet. Cross the right ankle onto our left knee. Flex our foot. Thread that right hand in between. Wrap that left around. Interlace our hands. And again, notice if my leg is up, different stretch. Then if my leg is about at a 90 degrees, that feels the best for me. I'm going to flex both of my feet. Again, make sure that those hips have not come up off the ground. How about one more breath? And slowly release. So we're going to make our way all the way back up to standing. So however carefully we can get there, I'm going to roll onto my side, bring it up, and come to standing. So my mat is sideways, your mat might be sideways. So I just want you to take your feet a little bit wider than your hips. Normally I say as wide as your mat, so kind of gauge it off of that. I'm going to walk my feet in just a little bit. We're going to bring our hands to our hearts, and we're going to drop the tailbone to the floor. So we're going to listen to those knees and go as deep as we can. Our heels need to stay on the ground. So if they happen to come up and we have a blanket or at the edge of our mat, we can roll it up and place it underneath. I'm going to keep that heart lifted. And why do I like this pose so much? Because it's the only pose that tailbone can completely release. When we're seated, we've got pressure in it. When we're standing, we've got pressure in it. So this is just that release. Plus it's great for the ankles, calves, inner thighs. Now maybe this is easy and I can walk my heels closer together. Maybe it's hard and I need to walk my feet further apart. Now we're going to just plant our hands, and I want you to straighten our legs, and we're going to let our toes come to the front, soften our knees, tuck our chin, and we're going to roll up nice and slow, coming all the way to standing. How do we feel? So we have one more big inner thigh stretch. I know you're going to love it. So let's get started. Let's take our feet nice and wide. Now, we're just going to bend that right knee. We're going to come over to that right side. I'm going to plant my hands, and I'm going to allow my left toes to lift up. My right heel is lifted up as well. Now we're going to come back through the center, lifting. So I feel a big stretch right here. Now I can go a little bit faster or even slower. I'm breathing right here. Now let's come back through that center over to that left side again. How are we doing? Do we feel that big inner thigh stretch? Let's go one more time to the right. Oh. Yeah. One more time over to that left. Oh, I think I might have gone too far out. There we go. Now let's come back just into the center. We're going to come back to seated. We're going to grab our blanket, or if we don't have a blanket, because I didn't tell you you had to have a blanket, I just happen to have one handy. We're going to roll it up. Now, let's say I don't have a blanket, I can roll up my mat. Same thing, works amazing. Now, I'm just going to keep my blanket off to the side, and I'm going to lift my hips enough to slide that blanket underneath the tailbone as I rest my hips back on it. It's not a huge, super big stretch, but I'm going to slide my left leg out and let the front of my hip be stretched a little bit more. Now, if this isn't enough, you're not really feeling it, you can tighten up your roll, you can get a bigger blanket, you can grab even a bolster. Now let's switch. Bend the left knee, extend the right. Now, because I enjoy this so much, I'm just going to extend both legs. But I could stay with just that right leg extended. Now, let's say we only have the right leg extended. We're going to bend the right knee, extend the left one more time. If I would like to try both, and I haven't already, I can take both legs straight. So this is right on my sacrum, right above my tailbone, right below all my vertebrae. Just allowing that nice, gentle opening in the front of the thighs, maybe up into our core. Maybe we had a big core day. One more breath. And then let's bend our knees. We're going to slide that blanket out. And we're going to come to seated. So we can rock up, we can come up to the side. We're just going to come to that comfortable seated position. Now, we just did our hips, right? So we're going to sit up tall and make sure that those knees are resting a little bit more comfortably on the floor. Now, I'm going to challenge you right here. I always put my right foot in front. So I'm going to tuck my right foot behind and allow my left leg to be in front. Now, I am not sitting traditional Indian style. My legs are far enough apart that they can each rest on the mat, allowing those knees to go down. And with that, let's sit up tall. Sweep those arms above our head. Inhale. As we exhale, let's draw our hands to our heart center. And thank you all so very much for sharing your yoga practice with me today. The Divine Light in me honors and acknowledges the Divine Light in you. Namaste. Remember to like, subscribe, and share with all your friends. Let's get everybody's hips stretched out today.